just after losing that semi-final, got like a 10-minute break, and that last game was pretty hard to take. Those last couple of games were really, really close. So he may still be on tilt from that, and Jab maybe has had some time to calm down and collect himself a little bit more. So we'll see if that affects him. But pretty good start for the Zoo here, and there is card draw in the hand for the Freeze Mage as well as that Mad Scientist.
Yeah. The one thing we didn't mention earlier, a little bit off topic, was there's going to be an All-American Grand Final. The bracket was rigged. To be fair. As an American, I will admit, it wasn't rigged per se, but the whole top side of the bracket from the quarterfinals, American players won in the first 4 rounds. So we were guaranteed to have an American player in the finals just because of how the first round went. Like in the round of 16, the top side of the bracket was like 1 American paired with a European in almost every match, and all the Americans won. So just throwing it out there, but there is a chance for Forsen to. He's not only representing himself and the Forsen boys, he's also representing all of Europe right now in this top 4. So he's going to want to take that 3rd place. And Jab
Forsen flying the flag for Europe.
Yeah, and Jab is going to try his hardest to bring that top 3 finish to Hearthletics, bring that top 3 finish to the old US of A.
Well, Jab is, it's going to be an All-American podium if Jab can win here. But that Acolyte's pretty good to start with. Forsen is drawing into Burn as well. You can see he's clearly he's adopting a different sitting position from the last game to see if that brings him better luck, as we can't actually see his face right now.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. He's alive.
He'll always be alive. He's eternal. He's Mal'Ganis. I am eternal.
There's another meme for the Forsen boys there. Gets the juggle on that Acolyte. Double juggler here, so the damage is going to start coming in. It's going to pick away that armor as well. Second Ice Barrier in hand for Forsen is pretty useful as well.
He's going to be able to stall some time with the Frost Nova in order to get Blizzard out next turn.
Yeah, Blizzard Flame Strike back to back is pretty crucial as well.
Oh, Bane of Doom! It's coming out. What are we going to get?
Oh, Flame it. No.
So
dies to Blizzard, unfortunately.
So the Bane of Doom, I don't know, I'm sure everyone's familiar with it, but it just sort of got a pseudo buff. They opened up the pool of all the demons in the game to be able to summon by Bane of Doom. And the average demon is actually really strong. There's not too many weak demons. Flame Imp, Voidwalker, Blood Imp, Mistress of Pain, Voidwalker, those are really the only weak ones. If you get something like Void Caller, even if you get Succubus, Dread Infernal, Doomguard, Mal'Ganis, Jaraxxus, Pit Lord, there's so many really strong demons that actually cost more than 5 mana in themselves that you can get from Bane of Doom that make the card just so worth it. So it's one of my favorite cards to play with and to watch currently, just because of that fact.
Yeah, it's one of those cards that, compared to some other cards, people tend to think is maybe overcosted. Oh,
this could be really bad. Oh
no! No.
All he needed was 1 bomb to hit for any amount of damage on that Emperor Thorsan, because then he could have used Mortal Coil on it and fit his curve perfectly with the Void Caller.
Yeah, two coin flips missed for Jab there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But he's still in a pretty decent position here with that Dr. Boom.
Yeah.
But Forsen is drawing into the answers, as he does have that burn.
Yeah. The one good thing is, I mean, he's sitting at 16 health now, and he's already burned through an Ice Barrier. Block is not active. He does have second Secrets in, but, ooh, Doomguard. I don't think he was expecting anything to come out of that. With 2 cards in hand.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. It's not what he wanted to see off that Flame Strike, and I mean, that means that he's taken barely any power off the board. He wants to Ice Block here, but he probably has to Frostbolt this Dr. Boom. Yeah, so there is Ice Block and Ice Barrier in hand for Forsen, so he's going to be able to play those next turn if he wants to reduce some of the damage coming in. And Jab.
He's actually in a really good position. He's got Burn in his hand. He's got way to deal with the Doomguard the following turn. His Emperor's been alive for 2 turns now. And Jab is almost out of cards. So he's going to have to keep tapping turn after turn in order to draw into enough power to even get close to killing him. In which case, Forsen has Pyroblast in his hand. All he needs to do is draw into a little bit more burn. This comes back to those boom bots. His Dr. Boom would still be alive if one of those boom bots had hit the Emperor Thorsan. He could have mortar coiled it, got deeper into his deck, and protected both of his creatures on the board.
Yeah, this is really crucial, and you can see Jab just isn't drawing what he needs to. And this goes back to what we saw in the last semi-final with Tides and Forsen, in this kind of basically the same matchup, the Zoo versus the Freeze Mage. The Zoo can, with the life taps of the Warlock, it actually can, if you life tap too often, you can make it so your opponent doesn't even need to draw Alexstrasza. Though that is a lot of damage there with the double power overwhelming. We see again Forsen with the half gold, half not gold. That's, it's not good, not aesthetically pleasing deck building.
Also not min-maxing.
No.
His opponents know exactly what he's playing. Because if they look in his deck and one game see a golden one and one game see a non-golden one, they know that he's running two. It's a dead giveaway.
Alright, well he's going to power overwhelming one of them. And go for the void color as well. He's, again, not going to be able to get anywhere close to popping the block this turn, thanks to the ice barrier. He's getting a decent board, but if Forsen gets a clear or a freeze here, this is going to really mess him up. Doesn't get one. Loot Hoarder for card draws. It's pretty weak at this point. But if he draws Burn here, he might just go for Pyroblast.
Just throw down one of the Doomsayers. I mean, he could double Doomsayer, which is basically the same effectiveness as freezing a Doomsayer, because it's 14.
Yeah.
It's either 14 points of heal or clears the board. So yeah,
he's gonna go for that. That's pretty much clearing the board, and he has the Pyroblast and the Fireball. If he draws some Burn next turn, he's just gonna throw the Pyroblast.
Yeah, you have to be careful not to use your Burn too early in this matchup, just because if he uses Mal'Ganis and you've used all your Burn to go phase to preemptively set up a lethal, you're dead. And what's crazy is that he can actually use Pyroblast and Fireball in the same turn.
That's insane.
16 points of damage.
And there's the second Fireball. Oh man, actually, so
he tapped. He's dead.
Oh my god, he's dead.
The game is over.
That's awful. Being able to play Pyroblast and Fireball on the same turn is insane. I was going to say that actually he was in real trouble if he left the Acolyte up and cleared the two Doomsayers. If he actually cleared the Doomsayers, he'd be in trouble. We'd have some issues, but
yeah,
he's actually looking to see if he can pop the block here.
Can't. Oh no! Wait.
16. He's gonna. Well, no, because he's not gonna pull the Doomguard. He can. If he plays the Doomguard here, he can actually pop the block.
Yeah, he was 1 damage away from being able to pop the block with Bane of Doom. But at least he's gonna. Oh god! It pulls the Doomguard before Doomsayers hit, so he actually wastes the Doomguard.
Yeah, that is a waste.
Well, he would have had to play anyway with double Fireball Frostbolt, but being able to use Pyroblast and Fireball on the same turn to kill your opponent is definitely
pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
All right, so that's game number 1 going over to Forsen. Takes an early lead, and the Freeze Mage. Getting the win with the Freeze Mage could be really crucial. Has that Face Hunter, the Mech Shaman, the 2 aggressive decks, and the Grim Patron Warrior coming up for Forsen.
Forsen must have paid off those boom bots in that game.
Made all the difference. And we saw...
So imagine, okay, one of those boom bots hits the Emperor Thorsan. He's able to Mortar Coil it or just kill it outright. It's dead. He only gets 1 effective turn of Emperor Thorsan. Pyroblast still costs 9. Fireball still costs 3. He can't clear the Dr. Boom the next turn. Jab pops the Ice Block 2 turns earlier than he would have. Or Forsen has to use one of those Fireballs to take out the Dr. Boom. There's a completely different game on your hand right there. But, of course, that's the nature. The nature of it in general. And that's, I guess, karma for Dr. Boom being such a strong card. Is sometimes it doesn't go your way, and you just have to deal with it. But next matchup is going to be Jab. He's going to stay with the Warlock, and Forsen's actually going to head on over to the Face Hunter. So it's a good chance that Forsen might go 2-0 up in this series.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a really early start for him. The Face Hunter against the Warlock could be a pretty good matchup for the Face Hunter. It's it's all dependent on the draws once again. But if the Warlock can get a really good early start and control the board with things like the Void Walkers, the Void Callers as well, can be really good in this matchup. But the Face Hunter can just overwhelm with damage, and this is the problem with this matchup for the Warlock is the way the hero powers interact. And we've said this before in other matchups. When you can deal 2 damage and then they do another 2 damage to themselves on their turn, the Hunter hero power effectively does 4 damage. So it can be really a liability.
I think the mid-range Hunter is a little bit better, just because Mal'Ganis can put a big wrench in a lot of Hunter's plans. But it's the thing is actually getting to the point where you can draw Mal'Ganis, and turn 9 is not usually a turn that you get to when you're playing Zoo versus Face Hunter. So it's just really tough. It's really tough. You're everything's working against you as Zoo. The one way you win is by racing. But again, your hero power is working against you. Building up a big board of lots of small creatures working against you. And Argent Squire in Face Hunter.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a card that I've talked to pros quite a lot about Argent Squire and Face Hunter. I spent a weekend with Team Dignitas, which are, of course, the experts in Face Hunter. Speaking to players like Modern Leper, Blackout, and Green Sheep, talking about it, and I didn't get to talk to Naaman, unfortunately, before he disappeared into the ether. He's gone. I don't think he exists anymore. But I mean, Blackout was a big proponent of the Argent Squire at a particular point in the meta. But other players thought it was straight up bad. I actually kind of like it in this matchup because I think it can give you some really good trades. So, like, if you can Abusive Sergeant it, you can take out a Direwolf, for example, and still keep a 1/1 on board. So it can have its uses. And you can see here, actually, this could well be one of those times.
Yeah. I'd be inclined to actually take out the Nerubian here. Yeah,
I think so.
Protects your Leok. Floats the board a little bit, but you're not really worried about that.
Yeah, I think that's okay. He's looking at Implosion here. I like the Abusive Sergeant because I think it's safer.
Oh!
No, he rolls 4!
That's a pretty big deal, because now, not only does he not have to trade the Direwolf in order to block a lot of damage coming from the board, but at the same time, he gets 4 imps that are not going to be able to trade up here.
Yeah, that's huge.
But it doesn't really affect the lineup play for Forsen here. He's going to take out the Direwolf, which would have happened anyway, and just going to go face.
Yeah, like Glavezuka coming out. There is Moral Cause, a pretty good pick up the cycle. I mean, he's going to be able to clear this board, but he has to be a little bit worried of Unleash the Hound.
Oh, fantastic draw.
A little bit less worried of Unleash the Hounds now because Defender of Argus.
Yeah, Defender of Argus is just so solid against Face Hunter. It just makes it so tough. They have to, usually in order to clear through a taunt, they spend 2 turns to clear through 1 taunt. You're always going to trade at least 2 for 1 with Defender of Argus against Face Hunter, as long as you have more than 1 creature on the board. So
yeah, he might well have to run. Yeah, he's going to have to run the Wolf Rider into it here.
Yeah, and chances are he's already so low health. If he's having to spend a whole turn just to remove taunts from the board, 3 damage on board, he's going to be at least 10 health the next turn. I don't know if he's going to have enough damage to finish it.
Wow, how much damage is that? That's going to be 10 damage coming in this turn.
Yeah, I don't think
he can. No way to clear.
Yeah, it was 6 mana. There's no way he can piece together enough damage to do 16 health. I think that's game over.
I would think so. So Jab is going to take game number 2. Yeah, Forsen's going to concede. So it's going to be 1-1 in this series, and it's looking already like this is going to be a pretty close time of things.
Yeah, fast game so far. That was one of the fastest Freeze Mage games we've seen in a while. The Freeze Mage Warlock, the first game. So, quick series. Both these players usually play pretty fast. I talked about it a little bit earlier. There's a lot of very quick players in the round of 4, I guess we could call it.
Yeah, I think all 4 players that played, I would say, generally play quite quickly.
Chalky, not so much anymore, because he plays a little bit slower decks now, but Forsen, Jab, and Tides of Time all have been known to play pretty quickly. There's definitely no life coaches. Definitely no serial ropists in this tournament.
We did see some in the earlier rounds, but Jab's going to go for the Warrior here, and I think we're just waiting to see what it's going to be for Forsen. It's going to be the Shaman, so...
strumming on a guitar?
Yeah, sorry, that was just me hitting my mic stand there with my pen. It's going to be
I thought you were
Shaman.
about to serenade us.
No, sadly not. Sadly not. If we have another server crash, maybe I will.
Okay. Sweet.
Don't. It's nobody DDoS the Blizzard servers, because you'll be the ones that lose out, because I'll play guitar for you.
Also, it's illegal. So.
Also, it's illegal. So it's going to be the Warrior versus the Shaman. I'm just getting ready for this game here. The Mech Shaman of Forsen. It had a little bit of a painful game with it last time. But he's going to be hoping for a better matchup here against the Warrior. It's a pretty standard control warrior. It's actually the double brawl control warrior for Jab, if I remember rightly. So that's actually really good for Jab that he's queued into 2 players with Grim Patron warriors.
Yeah.
So he has the double brawl in this deck, and also has a lot of ways to clear as well. So this actually could work out quite well against the Mech Shaman as well, because if your opponent puts down a Fell Reaver and you have a brawl just as like a last resort, you use your brawl, but you end up having another in the deck, which often when you use your brawl too early, it can really give your opponent an indication that they can flood the board because you don't have a second one. And I don't know if Forsen watched the first semi-final. Hopefully he did and knows that this is a double brawl.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to have been watching really closely, because we actually didn't see 2 brawls. Definitely didn't see 2 brawls. We didn't see 2 brawls. We just saw one brawl be mulliganed away, and then brawl come back into his hand. So this control warrior usually does well against decks that have finite amounts of damage. Decks that sort of empty their hand, and by the time their hand is empty, they're hoping to have already won the game. Just because of the fact that they can gain health every turn. And they have a lot of ways to deal with strong early boards with weapons and brawl for the mid game.
This is a decent start for Forsen, though. You wouldn't want to see that Ragnaros so early. There's the Fell Reaver coming in. He's got the Mech Warper into the Zap-O-Matic.
No Fiery War Axe. This is sort of a bummer. He can take care of one of these this turn with Cruel Taskmaster Execute. Or he can Whirlwind and Cruel Taskmaster. One of them.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to do something here, because that is 8 damage on board right now.
Yeah, and then the following turn he can use Death's Bite to clear, but he needs to start. And taking out the Mech Warper is smarter here, because he's okay with taking the 6 damage, because the Cruel Taskmaster actually trades into the Whirling Zap-O-Matic. This is okay too, but that Whirling Zap-O-Matic effectively did 9 damage, because he's going to clear with the Death Bite next turn. So I'd say that's a pretty good Whirling Zap-O-Matic. I've seen ones that do quite a bit better, and there's a Fire Wax about 2 turns too late.
Yeah, this is the problem. Fiery War Axe just super late to the party with the Death Bite. It's like, bro, I already got this. You're late. I took your spot. Sorry.
Yeah.
That Zap-O-Matic can just get so much early damage in these games. That could be really crucial. I mean, it didn't get the buff from the Power Mace, which would have been really hard to come back from.
Jab taking in the Harrison Jones. Right now, it's a pretty strong card. Because there's quite a few hunters, quite a few rogues, and quite a few warriors, whether it be Control or Grim Patron. So it's still a good card. It could be good in this matchup as well. If we see Doomhammer come out or second Power Mace, that Harrison Jones could sort of stop the momentum of Forsen in its tracks.
Definitely. I'm not actually sure whether or not we saw that in the last game.
Oh.
Oh, hello.
Sludge Belcher is actually a great way to deal with.
Yeah.
Oh no! He burned the Earth Shock.
Oh, the perfect answer was on top of his deck, but he burned it.
Yeah.
So rough.
The good thing here is that he can Fire Elemental as well. And I think Brawl is going to have to come out here, because he's got lethals next turn. This is just really rough.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to Brawl.
There's no choice. There's absolutely no choice.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 6 damage in hand plus 14 on board. There's way too much damage. He's going to have to Brawl and pray for the 1 in 3.
Well, he can try and draw first, and if he doesn't draw into an answer, then he can Cruel Taskmaster and then Brawl. But That would put him in even worse off position if his Cruel Taskmaster didn't come out of it.
Oh, this is super risky. This is super risky.
Yeah.
Cruel Taskmastering. He's just trying to increase his chances of winning the brawl. I guess there's now a 25% chance only that Fire survives.
Oh no!
So the Fire Elemental does survive.
Ouch.
It's not quite. Oh, he's like.
No, it's not quite.
It's not quite lethal.
But
it's a lot of burn in hand.
Nearly. 8 health.
Just Ragnaros is lethal, and that's probably going to be game. Jab just hasn't drawn into anything to clear here.
Yeah, that's game.
Yep, that is game. So Forsen's going to jump out to a 2-1 lead in this best of 7. Rag goes face because, of course, he does.
Yeah. All right. Well, after a rapid 3 games in this third place matchup already, Forsen has a 2-1 lead. He's taken wins with Freeze Mage, and he's taken win with his Mech Shaman. And those are the 2 decks that he's actually had the most trouble closing out games with. So he still has Grim Patron Warrior left, and he still has Hunter left.
Yeah, I like his chances here. I think it's difficult because I think the Control Warrior could be difficult. He could well get a win with either. He could get a win with either of these decks against Control Warrior, but I think there can be difficult matchups.
It's going to be really, really hard for him to get a win with Face Hunter.
Yeah, it is possible, but it's going to be really difficult. And the Grim Patron Warrior, that could be really difficult against the Control Warrior as well. You'd need to get the right combo pieces. We saw with Chucky versus Jab that did not work. That didn't work out well. And we know this is double brawl Control Warrior as well. It's specifically teched to beat this Grim Patron Warrior, but that is what we're going to see in Game 4. It's going to be the Warrior Mirror match, the Control Warrior with the double brawl of Jab against the custom Grim Patron Warrior for Forsen.
This Grim Patron Warrior has done incredible things for Forsen so far this tournament. I don't think it's lost a game. I think in all 3 matches that he's played, he's won with the Grim Patron Warrior on his first try.
I think that's correct. I'm just checking.
Because he lost the last series, but it went to Game 7, and he had already won with Grim Patron Warrior, and he won the first time that he played it. So
he lost a game with it in his first match against Oliek.
Okay,
but then he won with it. So he's 3-1 with this deck in the tournament.
Yeah, and the games that he won have just been near either complete blowouts or just huge creative combo plays that have been possible because of Commanding Shout. So it's a really exciting deck to watch, and it's a deck that I'd like to fool around with and try out a little bit later on if I get the opportunity. Golden Warrior versus non-Golden Warrior.
What do you think about Jab picking the Warrior here? I know it's specifically tacked against this Grim Patron Warrior, but there's part of me that thinks as well that if you put your Druid and your Hunter into this first, and then you go down to your Control Warrior against 2 favored matchups, that feels like that might have been a better strategy to leave this till last.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. In the end, you have to win with all your decks anyway. So it's not like he's ever going to get into a situation where he's going to get a favorable deck at the end. But the only way he could do that is if he gets really lucky and somehow the final match is between Control Warrior and Hunter. But he might as well just throw it out now because Control Warrior has the most good matchups against whatever Forsen can put out.
Yeah, indeed. But if he gets the win here with the Control Warrior, Forsen still has the opportunity to beat the Druid and the Hunter. So it's I'm not sure.
He wants to. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
Yeah, I personally would have liked to get to a situation where you have if you let Forsen take the 3rd win against let him take the wins against the Druid, and then I don't know, it's difficult because you could just beat the Druid and the Hunter without you ever playing the Warrior. Yeah. So you need to know you need to be careful when you play it and when you hold on to it.
Yeah.
Playing that Warlock twice.
I don't think he can't really afford to get greedy though, and assume that he's going to win the next 2 matches without Control Warrior. So I really don't mind. I really don't mind the pick.
There's a Mana Wraith again.
Oh no!
Having flashbacks to Oliek in the round of 16 really messed him up.
Yeah, the Mana Wraith was actually what lost in the game because it delayed his Emperor Thorsan in that match earlier on to a turn later. So this card is the bane of Forsen. But at least this time it's on his side. so he can trade it away whenever
And he rips Fiery War Axe jab to be able to deal with the Mana Wraith. So that's a pretty good turn. And then the Acolyte of Pain comes out.
Oh, this is Emperor Thorsan right on turn 6 with quite a big hand. That hand including Warsong Commander, Cruel Taskmaster, Grim Patron, and Battle Rage. Really, really good stuff. If he draws a Whirlwind or a Despite in his next couple cards, Forsen's in great shape. Jab needs a brawl. Jab needs to find a brawl soon.
If he draws Inner Fire, the next turn could be huge as well. He could put himself up with 3 Grim Patrons, all with charge. It actually could get even... Just an Inner Fire top deck makes the... Well, it's normally a turn 10 combo, because of Thorsen, is a turn 7 combo. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Inner Rage, not Inner Fire. I always get the two confused.
Well, you associate fire with rage.
I mean, that's... Yeah. That's pretty fair.
It's not a strange thing. Not a strange thing.
Inner Fire is, of course, a priest card. You are correct.
Priest? What's a priest?
Well, we're going to see a priest later on, potentially Chucky in the final in the next match, but it's actually going to... He's thinking of using the Cruel Taskmaster here on the Acolyte and building up his Frothing Berserker, which is not too bad, since there isn't any real easy way to deal with it in the hand for Forsen.
Oh.
For Jab, sorry. Oh no, there's the Whirlwind.
But he's used his Cruel Taskmaster now, so he only has 1 activator for Grim Patron unless he wants to slam his own Grim Patron, which actually wouldn't be good because it'd do 2 damage and it would only summon 1 extra. So, wow, that draw's pretty inconsequential just because Deathbite maybe not the best against Grim Patron Warrior, and he's already committed to this Gorehowl. So the 2 weapons that are in his hand right now are effectively
Pretty dead.
Pretty good.
It's not bad.
He's gonna have to take 7 damage here, but I think he's okay with that, just because it'll get him damage to make for a bigger battle rage later on. So he can slam for draw here.
Yeah, he's actually in a pretty favorable position in the life game as well. So this isn't too bad at all. He gets a free Dread Corsair if he wants it.
Next turn is going to be huge for Forsen. He can play Warsong Commander, Grim Patron, Cruel Taskmaster, Dread Corsair. Oh no, he Whirlwinds this turn.
Yeah, he wants to clear the... He wanted to use that to clear the...
Well, he can still play Warsong Commander, Grim Patron, Cruel Taskmaster, Dread Corsair, and Battle Rage. And swing with his Deathbite. Not only will
brawl for Jab yet.
That'll get him a board full of 3 damage charges, plus, I think, 6 cards.
Oh man. The reduction in cost on those 3 cards there, the Battle Rage, the Warsong Commander, and the Grim Patron is going to be absolutely huge.
The one thing is that he can't make a giant Frothing Berserker. But I don't think he's really worried about that. Oh my.
Oh no.
Here we go.
Okay, so Warsong Commander, Grim Patron, Cruel Taskmaster. He's going to go with a Berserker as well. He's actually just going to opt to make 2 Grim Patrons, which I'm kind of okay with.
I can hear the panties of 1,000 Twitch chatters dropping as we watch this combo unfold. That is a lot of damage, and he could throw this Grim Patron in to summon another Grim Patron, so not even having to use the Battle Rage or the Cruel Taskmaster. A Brawl needs to come out from Jab here, or he's in so much trouble. 6, 16,
so that's 19
damage. Just really impressive stuff here.
Alright, Brawl or Bust for Jab.
Yep.
And nope, that's not it. He can Whirlwind to find it.
He's dead anyway, so he kind of has to. That's really his only out.
He's absolutely his only out.
But he has to. Yeah, he has to. It's the only way.
It's like a really bad play here, but he has to Whirlwind his Acolyte and then Brawl, and that's actually puts him in a decent position for Brawl because it means he can maybe win the Brawl. One in 8 chance.
Has to be Brawl off the top.
Nope, that's it.
Sledge Belcher will not do it because he can clear with Grim Patrons and then smack for probably about 25 damage
How much is this Frothing Berserker even going to be? I can't... 17.
Yeah, concedes, and Forsen is 1 game away from securing 3rd place.
Absolutely. So 3-1 lead for Forsen with that Grim Patron Warrior. Goes up to 4-1 in the tournament. A formidable record for that deck. Jab put Double Brawl in his deck to try and beat this, but wasn't able to get that Brawl. And Forsen has 3 chances to get a win with the Face Hunter here. Forsen's very much in the driver's seat. Even if Jab goes for the Control Warrior here, and that's a very favored matchup for Control Warrior, the mid-range Hunter is favored for the Face Hunter, and Druid can be really tough against Face Hunter as well.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much Forsen in the driver's seat here. Jab's gonna need a miracle. He's sticking with the Warrior, which makes sense. It's the best deck he has against Face Hunter. It's his best chance of getting a win at this point. He needs to win with all his 3 decks against Face Hunter, and that's a pretty tough challenge.
Face Hunter is one of those cards that, or one of those decks that even in bad matchups, they can still just sneak out wins just because sometimes they can have ridiculous openings. A couple Hoffer rolls, some clutch juggles. Oh, there we go. 4th name for my band. Clutch juggles. So we have the Burn Turn,
Block Poppage,
Foodie Time, and Clutch Juggles.
I like Clutch Juggles. I think that might be your best so far.
Yep, I think so too. We've reached a new high.
All right, well, not the greatest start from Jab. He does have the Armor Smith, but doesn't have any of the weapons he would need. And if Firebat were here, he would say this match is over because he didn't draw Fiery War Axe.
Did have Armor Smith though.
Yep, does have the Armor Smith, which can get cleared. So,
but his curve is super heavy, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Sludge Belcher ends up blocking a lot of damage. But if a silence is drawn, he's in pretty poor position. Acolyte of Pain. If he had drawn into something that he couldn't play on that turn and was forced to armor up on turn 3, that would have been really bad. So it's very fortunate that he ends up drawing into something that he can actually play.
Yeah, it's he draws the Fiery War Axe.
There she is.
Well, that does give him a turn 4 play, and a Whirlwind as well could be useful later on. So he's probably just going to go with the Fiery War Axe, armor up, kill that Knife Juggler, get that off the board. And then he has the Sludge Belcher for next turn, Sylvanas. So actually, what looked like potentially a weak hand for Jab has actually turned out not too bad in the end. But he's still obviously very much up against it with the Face Hunter.
It's so funny to see Face Hunter as someone's last deck in Conquest format. Because you literally see them like desperately trying to put out as much damage as possible, as quick as possible. And I don't mean like as quick as possible as far as like the game goes. I mean like their turns are basically just them pointing cursors at their opponent's face as fast as they can, and then moving on to the next game. It's, I don't know, I can't remember, I don't really know what it reminds me of, but it's just a pretty funny sight to see.
Well, the Brawl does come into hand for Jab a whole game too late, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The Grim Patriots have been and gone.
Okay, I have a good analogy for it. You know when you're at like a carnival and you do that ring toss? The ring toss onto like the bottles where you have to get the ring on the bottle? Like eventually, if you throw enough rings, you're gonna get the ring on the bottle. And you know there's always that guy that's just so competitive that like someone gets the ring on the bottle the first try and then he spends like $20, $40, $60 buying more rings just to keep throwing them at the bottle. That's what this feels like to me. Forsen has 4 rings and he's just desperately trying to get one on the bottle.
I mean, yeah, I guess I can see the analogy. Second Sludge Belcher off the top. It actually feels like Jab's being able to stabilize quite well. That Leok isn't going to do him any good. It's going to be able to activate kill commands, but that's about it. And now the Leok is dead, so just going to see the second Belcher, I think.
Indeed.
This is actually really hard for the Face Hunter.
That's probably just about the nail in the coffin at this point.
Yeah. It's such a bad matchup, Control Warrior versus Face Hunter. It's so hard to have any chance. And when you draw double kill command explosive trap, when your opponent's nowhere near death, like when you have double explosive trap in your hand, double kill command, you're never gonna have a chance. In fact, Jab could just as well ignore the explosive trap here and just let the rag hit over 3 turns.
Kill him over 3 turns with rag. Argent Squire. This is one of the downfalls of Argent Squire. If you don't have it on turn 1, it's not that great of a draw going on later into the game. Whereas other things can be pretty useful.
Yeah, he's just going to kill the Argent Squire here, and I think he may go face with the Sylvanas to make it down to 2 turns instead of 3. He's going to draw a card with Harrison Jones.
I don't even think he has to attack at all here. Just armor up and let the rag do the work.
Yeah,
yep.
I mean...
The best way to win.
And there's no way for Forsen to win over 2 turns.
Yeah.
You can silence this Belcher here, but...
Well, okay. No, there's no way he can win. I was going to say if he draws like quick shot into quick shot, if he owls his turn, double kill commands, he can owl double kill command hero power, which would put Jab at 4 health. And next turn he could chain quick shot into quick shot if he had an empty hand.
But
he can't play explosive trap because Jab is not proccing the explosive trap.
Yeah. So even a quick shot into quick shot, yeah, okay. So
in a weird,
say that.
If Jab was actually purposefully playing around, if he had explosive trap in his hand, not proccing it so that he couldn't play the other explosive trap, to not be able to chain quick shot versus quick shot, props to him. But I doubt that was the case.
It's a great read, not proccing that explosive trap. But I guess, like, when you don't even need to, why? Why would you just... If you can just play Rag and go, you know, there's no way he can kill me over these turns.
No point in taking 2 extra damage.
Exactly. So that's going to be 3-2. Jab is trying to bring it back. He's going to go into the Druid next. And Forsen, of course, going to have another opportunity with the Face Hunter here in Game 6. So this is probably favored for the Face Hunter here, I think. Pretty much everything except the Control Warrior is favored for Face Hunter.
Yeah. Against... Druid actually used to be the go-to class to counter Hunter, but of course nobody's really running Ram Druid anymore. It might see a comeback with the popularity of Face Hunter and with the popularity of Zoo Warlocks rising just a little bit, the faster Zoo Warlocks. But right now, Midrange Hunter is still pretty good. Just sometimes, again, Face Hunters can have just those crazy starts, and unless you get an early like Innervate Keeper, or you can ramp up really fast into ways to deal with the board, that's just going to be about the only way that you can stop some of that bleeding that the Hunter can just continuously put on.
Alright, Wrath is a good pickup, obviously, to deal with the early threats. But Double Wolf Rider, Mad Scientist. On the coin, having the 2/2 drops isn't too bad. He's probably just going to coin a Mad Scientist here. Maximum damage.
Yep.
And it's going to get Wrathed, but that's okay. Still plenty of firepower in the hand there. Worgen Infiltrator is pretty good as well, so he can go for the Creeper, Worgen, turn 3 if he wants, or the Wolf Rider. Innervate's not a bad pickup, so the Sylvanas can come out next turn.
This is a really slow hand.
Yeah. The Innervate pickup was pretty crucial for Jab to have anything to do here. If he didn't pick up the Innervate, he was pretty much dead, because he was just going to watch as Forsen put damage into his face.
I don't even know if the Innervate's going to be that great, just because he doesn't really have any great targets to Innervate into. Innervate Sylvanas actually isn't that powerful of a play. You're not taking anything off the board immediately. Sylvanas is one of the easiest targets to ignore when you're a Face Hunter, just because you can set it up in a way where you can force him to steal 1/1. So a 5/5 for 6 is not really something that you want to use a ramp tool like Innervate to put out. A lot of times Sylvanas sits as a dead card for a long time.
Yeah, and if the Sylvanas did come out, it would just get silenced as well, so I think this is pretty good.
I don't even know if it would get silenced. I don't think he would even care. He'd probably want to save a silence to get through like a Druid of the Claw or Sludge Belcher later in the game.
That's true. I mean, yeah, there are quite a few taunts you need to get through in this deck, so he probably would have saved it. But he's going to just start hero powering every turn, put the Druid on the clock. With this damage here, Wolf Rider in hand, Leper Gnome. Leper Gnome is such a huge card for Face Hunter because it could just do so much damage. And what is Jab going to do here? Haven't seen the... Okay. Just wasn't sure if everything was alright there because I didn't see the hands flip, but... Jab did top deck a wild growth, but I'm not sure what that does for him at this point. Animal companion off the top, sure. So we've got a Misha on the board, that's not bad.
I'm sure he would have preferred a Huffer, as most players would have.
I'm not sure about flooding the board here, particularly when you just got Misha. I think that's too big a swipe target.
He's already seen one swipe. You can't afford to not take risks as a face hunter.
I don't know, I like hero powering every turn.
I don't think there's much of a reason to hold back, because both Hero Power and Leopardome both deal 2 damage, effectively. And if he didn't have swipe there, he'd be pretty screwed.
Double Innervate Sylvanas.
Yeah, Jeb's hand is frozen right now, so we'll try and get that back, but for right now it's a surprise. We can roleplay as Forsen right now. That's basically what we're doing.
Yep. So Rag's coming out, but... Hitting face? No. It's not going to be enough, I don't think. He is actually thinking about silencing the Sylvanas now, just because that was one attack.
Yeah, he can just make him steal a 1/1. Effectively, it's taking 5 power off the board, and it's making Unleash the Hound stronger, so... Or Unleash the Hound's the same effect.
Yeah. So it's going to be the... Unleash the Hound's probably just the hero power as well.
He's going to need some burn here.
Yeah, but he's looking for something like a kill command. With that owl, that would be really helpful. Ancient of Lord to heal actually brings Jab back into the life race a little bit. So Forsen is running out of steam here. And if Rag keeps going face, he's actually kind of on a 1-turn clock here.
He doesn't have enough rings.
No, this is probably...
To get on the bottle. We might be going to our 3rd Game 7.
I think we are. I think there's nothing that Forsen can do. He can...
There was Force Nature in the hand, so he is guaranteed lethal. We saw the hand before, so all he has to do is Force Nature here, and there it is. It is going to come out. Doesn't even need the Rag, so... Saboteur as well came into the hand, so... I'd say that's a little bit overkill, but this is going to be... It's going to come down to Game 7, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Game 7 is going to be Hunter versus Hunter.
Absolutely. It's going to be the mid-range Hunter of Jab, the deck which he could not win a game with in his semi-final. It went 0-4 in that semi-final. He has to pick a win out here to come third, and this is going to be a point of pride for Jab. He needs to win with his mid-range Hunter. The deck that he brought, that everyone else thinks bringing Face Hunter is the way to go. Jab said, no, I'm going to bring mid-range Hunter. I know Hunter really well. I know this deck inside out, and it hasn't worked for him so well.
It has a losing record so far this tournament.
It has a losing record. But this is the game that matters.
A heavily losing record. I think its total record so far this tournament is 2-4. No, wait. 2-6.
Yeah.
He lost 1 game this series. He lost 4 games in his last series, and he lost 1 game in
2-5. 2-5.
2-5. Okay, not 2-6. 2-5.
Because he beat the 3-old number guy.
But what about his quarterfinal?
It went 1-1.
So he's 2-6 because he lost 1 this round too.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, no, he hasn't played it in 3rd place. It's the first time he's played it.
He lost to Freeze Mage in the first game, I thought, or in the second game.
That was the Warlock.
Okay. Okay.
So he hasn't played it. He hasn't actually played it yet, which I think is really interesting because he lost. He played it 4 times in the semi-final, but hasn't actually opted to play it until the very, very end here.
Okay. So it is 2-5. Still not very successful of a record, I would say.
No. Moment of truth, Jab. Can you win with this mid-range Hunter? We're about to see. And this is for all the 3rd place marbles. Forsen versus Jab, game number 7. Mid-range Hunter versus Face Hunter.
Hunter as a whole, this tournament, has not had much success.
No.
All the players have been struggling pretty heavily with Hunter. Everybody that's brought Hunter has struggled.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because you called this very early on that you thought the Hunter was kind of a 2nd-tier pick. You thought that Warlock Rogue and Druid were probably, and Mage were probably
Mage.
the 4 best classes.
Yep.
And a lot of people would have maybe predicted Hunter being in that tier. But certainly you're being proven right here, TJ, that the players we have brought Hunter have struggled. I mean, that matchup against Druid probably should have been pretty good for the face Hunter, but
Yeah.
the Druid was able to pull it out.
You also have to think that every tournament sort of has a sub-meta. There's like a meta as a whole, and then every tournament has a sub-meta. So you can't really, as players win, the variance of the meta actually changes. So certain decks will get stronger as the tournament goes on because certain players that were playing other decks get eliminated. Hoffer!
That is not the role he wanted to see because it's more than likely an explosive trap. I don't think Forsen runs anything else, and yeah, it doesn't even run it in here.
The one time that Huffer's a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, when he rolls Huffer here, the best he's hoping for is the Worgen Infiltrator trade. That's all he can hope for. And unfortunately, Forsen opts not to. He opts to use the Worgen to proc the trap, which is definitely the better option.
If you think about it, Animal Companion's a weird card in a real world type of sense. Because what kind of hunter would summon an animal that was random? You'd think a good hunter would have like a different call for each animal. Like if I'm gonna call my pig, I'm gonna make a different call than I would if I'm gonna call my monkey or my bear.
What would your what would your pig call sound like, TJ?
I don't know. I'm not a hunter, so I don't have that. I don't have that type of expertise. But it's those things that make you think, you know.
King of Beasts. This is actually pretty good in this matchup.
Yeah. Did he pick that off the top, or did that come off of Web Spinner?
It came off Web Spinner.
I was too busy thinking about Huffer.
It came off the Web Spinner, and so the owl comes down in the King of Beasts here, but that is an owl that you can't use on a Sludge Belcher later on, and we know Jab plays Sludge Belchers.
Yeah. But he's at 16 health.
He is indeed.
Oh!
Houndmaster, that's huge.
Make a 4/8 taunt. That's ridiculous.
Well, does he not want to use it on the Huffer here so he can survive the explosive trap?
That's a possibility. But he might want his wall to be a little bit bigger. He can use the Huffer to trade as much as that hurts, and then make a pretty big wall. The other thing he can do is actually trade everything off here and like double quick shot to try and buy himself some time, and then use the Houndmaster next turn.
Yeah, I like that. I like your play though. I like the Houndmaster build a big taunt because I think there is only one owl in Forsen's face hunter deck.
That was a mistake. That had to have been a mistake.
Is that not the second time we've seen Forsen do that?
That wasn't Forsen, that was Jab.
Sorry, yeah.
No, it was Forsen earlier.
Yeah, Forsen did it with the Fell
Reaver.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake.
I'm trying to think of a reason why. There's potentially a reason why he'd want... No, because he was checking for Freezing Trap, it would have been with the Huffer. And he'd already checked for Freezing Trap in the past. He could have saved damage on the Houndmaster.
Yeah, he checked for Freezing Trap by attacking the owl with the Huffer.
And he probably knows at this point, after Forsen's played this deck 4 times already in the matchup, that it's...
This is so much damage coming in here.
It's one off.
He's a hero power away.
Oh, and
that's it! So Forsen is going to win 3rd place with a juggle.